lead for Combat the Silence campaign. Callie Hoffman, they produced 3 PSAs for the campaign, all based on real experiences of veterans who are struggling with PTSD. And these PSAs and this whole Combat the Silence program is to work with veterans to keep them out of harm's way. Callie, welcome to the Shelley Winter Show.
Hi, Shelley. Thank you for having me.
So, Combat the Silence. Explain Combat the Silence.
Yeah, so the Combat the Silence campaign is a campaign funded by the Department of Veterans Affairs. It's all funded by a grant called the Staff Sergeant Parker Gordon Fox Suicide Prevention Grant. And this is basically money given to organizations across the country to empower these organizations to have grassroots campaigns that can actually prevent suicide within their communities. So it's not a broad-reaching campaign, it's actually a niche campaign for individual communities.
So when you say individual communities, what would those communities be?
Yeah, so for example, Blue Star Families is the organization that I'm running this campaign for. And they are all about the military family, so the spouses, the children, and everyone involved. So this is really cool. Blue Star Families Combat the Silence campaign is about teaching military spouses, peers, veterans, active service members, inactive, all of them how to recognize the signs of a mental health crisis and how to intervene in a safe and effective way.
So families are just as important, talking to the families, because those are the ones those people are the ones, a veteran may not see the signs himself, so it's up to the family. So those family members are just important, or more important to the whole process.
Absolutely, and Blue Star Families actually did a study that found out that 134 people are affected for every suicide that we have in the military community. So
meaning 100. So one person commits suicide. There's 134 people who are impacted by that.
Yes, and we like to say that someone died by suicide because we don't want to vilify what they went through, but yes, that's exactly right. That's 134 lives that are affected by that life. So think about the effect, the spider web effect that can have on a community. So this is all about teaching them how to respond to the firearms that are in the household, because we know those are often used, and how to safely keep those firearms out of people's way so that we don't have to worry about this happening.
What are some of the signs that they have studies have shown that families should look for? What are some of the signs in your veteran family member or friend or brother, husband, whatever? What are some of those signs?
Absolutely, and this is something that is really important to me because I was a first responder in DeKalb County. My husband is a decorated combat Marine, so we actually experience these signs, if not going through them ourselves with one another or responding to patients. And these signs are often mood swings. So if someone's going from hot to cold, loss in appetite, loss in interest, very similar to what we look for in depression. So these are some of the signs that we should look out for.
So mood swings, I'm not a veteran, but I have those too, and usually brought on by women. But men go through that. So let's take mood swings out of it. Loss of appetite. How do you know loss? Because some people just don't eat a lot. You know what I mean? And I'm sure veterans are used to kind of not having, particularly ones who serve, not having a regular meal plan, if you will. So how do you spot something like that?
Yeah, and this is exactly why we are targeting the military spouses, right? The person that's usually cooking and preparing the meals. Hey, do you want to eat? Oh, I'm not hungry. They are usually the ones that are like, you haven't eaten in like 2 days, right?
Gotcha. So it's over days, not over hours. It's over days.
Yes, and everybody reacts to post-traumatic stress differently. So that's why it's important to have these programs like the Blue Star Support Circles, which are our virtual cohorts, so people can know the range of things that they can look out for.
Wow. It's just amazing. Children, right? So you have children who are involved in this. What role do children play? Because how do I want to say this? It's kind of hard to kind of, take your own life when you have a son or a young son or daughter, right? Do you find that sometimes the children, like with pets, kind of help out in prevention?
You know, I can say from personal experiences that our daughter, Ella, she has just been instrumental in keeping us grounded. And when we had really difficult situations, I can say she kept me going. And Lucas says the same thing. She keeps us going. But we also have to look at the effects that having a deployed family member or a deployed parent has on a military child. We have to nurture our military children because they are just as susceptible to this as our veterans and service members are.
Even though they haven't suffered, right? Wow.
It's different, yeah.
So children can get PTSD from just having a deployed family member, father or mother.
Well, I'm not a psychologist,
Right.
so I can't say that for certain.
But you see,
But it does affect the family dynamic. Having a deployed father or mother not there for an extended amount of time, or PCS, having station changes, that's a really big thing for family members. That's a really big thing for children to adjust to, especially in middle school and high school, those formative years. So yes, that's why we need to take a whole look at the entire family, and that's why I love Blue Star Families. They look at the entire family.
How can people that are listening to us right now support? Because my listeners, this is a completely pro-military on both sides. I mean, everyone listening, they're pro-military, they're Blue Star Families. I mean, the listeners of this show in particular, but this station generally speaking, are pro-military. How can people help? What can they do?
Yeah, so the wonderful thing about this campaign is that it's fully funded, so we don't have to beg anyone for money. You can just go to combatthesilence.org and register for our Blue Star support circles, and you don't have to be a military spouse. You just have to be related to a military member, and you can join these virtual cohorts and learn what you need to learn.
Give that website out again.
That's combatthesilence.org.
Now, Callie, you're here. Before we end our interview, I want to ask you this: you're involved personally. You're not only doing Combat the Silence campaign, but your family and everything like that. What is the number one piece of advice you give listeners that have family members that may be suffering, but they're not close, they're not in the house? What advice would you give that cousin or that co-worker to help the people that they may be in need?
I want everyone right now, after we go to break, because we want our ratings, I want you to go and I want you to call that family member that you haven't spoke to in a while, or even that family member that everyone kind of looks like, oh, that's our crazy uncle. Just reach out, call them and say, hey, how are you doing? I'm just checking on you. I just want you to know I love you and I care about you.
Wow. It's just a simple call can help.
Absolutely. It's the difference between life and death.
Give the website out again.
That's combatthesilence.org. And to learn more about Blue Star Families, you can visit bluestarfamilies.org. Same website.
bluestarfamilies.org, combatthesilence.org are the websites. Ladies and gentlemen, do what you can. Just like Callie said, reach out to a family member, friends, anybody that has served. What about, before we go, what about the deployed families? Like when you say a holistic kind of way of looking at things, what about deployed families? Like, is there anything that people can do for that mom and daughter or that dad and daughter when someone's deployed?
Yes, offer to cook for them, take care of the kids so they can have a spa day. And if you are a family member whose significant other is deployed, join Blue Star Families community. It's free and they take care of you with your job, with daycare, summer camps, all of that great stuff.
Callie Hoffman, the campaign lead for Combat the Silence campaign. Ladies and gentlemen, combatthesilence.org, bluestarfamilies.org. Go there now. My sister, thank you.
Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you. And we'll play one of the little short, brief PSAs when we come back. God bless you, Callie. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Shelley.